Hey, what's up, iCKEdMeL? Welcome to the channel. And last night I saw this come across my feed. There's an update with Ronnie ONeal, one of the craziest trials I've seen and definitely covered on this channel. He's the man that was convicted or found guilty of killing Kenyatta, his girlfriend, and their daughter, and also attempting to kill their son. He was the one with the crazy opening statements. He was representing himself.
By the time it's all said and done, you will see who is the mass murderers. In Tampa Bay.
He also cross-examined his own son, which was intense to say the least.
How you doing?
Good.
It's good to see you, man.
Good to see you too.
We're going to get into the update here in a second. We're going to check that out. But first, I just want to say that I'm going to make a playlist. So if there's any portion of the live stream coverage that we did that you want to check out, I'll put a playlist together. Of course, you can individually search yourself for the news clips if you just want to watch that. Now, I recommend, if you're new to the story, check out the first live stream that I did. If you haven't checked this one out, I'll put it on the playlist. This one, before we look at the opening statements, we go through court documentation, 2 different documents, which were really interesting and insightful. And after we watch this update, I'm going to get into a comment that somebody commented about this thing, because they're saying that Ronnie's innocent, that the son did all this. And I initially took it as trolling, but if you remember during a lot of those live streams, there are people that believe he's innocent. So what I might think is trolling may not really be trolling, and there's people, I guess, that feel like that. So let's get into the update and what the judge has to say. I'm a little nasally and all these allergies going on, so if you hear me stuffed.
19 years I've been at this job. I've seen human beings killed
This is from Tampa Bay 10.
at the hands of others in every way imaginable. You name it, I've seen it. Shootings, stabbings, drownings, suffocatings, blown apart by cars, some DUI manslaughter cases, horrible things. This is the worst case I have ever seen as far as the facts go. When the person from fire department, when he testified, and when he said that he retrieved the body of Ronnie ONeal from the home,
And that's the daughter.
and all he could do was sob. It took every ounce I had not to start sobbing too, because there is no way any person with any feeling could have witnessed or seen the photos of what occurred that night and not be haunted for the rest of your life. I know I will be. For the rest of my life, I'll be haunted by what I saw as far as the evidence and just the abject cruelty of it all. The abject cruelty. And I was aware, because I reviewed a lot of the discovery ahead of time, as you well know, did a lot of in-camera inspection of a lot of documents. And I was aware there was some evidence, at least, that when you needed to recover from your gunshot wound, that neither your parents nor your Aisha, Miss Robinson, would let you come recover at their home. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm not going to get into a dispute. I'm just mentioning there was some evidence.
And so this by the way, with this trial, the full thing, to my knowledge, to this date, as of today, has not fully been released. I would love to see the full trial. If it ever does come out, which I think one day it will, we'll definitely come back and we'll sit and watch the entire thing. There's bits and pieces, the longest parts of the opening statements, I believe, and the closing statements, and I believe maybe the cross-examination with the son. But I would love to see its entirety so we can hear some of these details.
Referencing that in the records. And all I could think about, because I knew that Miss Barron was not with you romantically at the time. And I knew that she, just out of the goodness of her heart, let you come stay with her. And it is beyond tragic that
I'm talking about the girlfriend that he killed and stuff.
critical decision ended in so much horror for her and for her children. It is unspeakably cruel. what happened as a result of that one decision. The way that Ms. Barron died was horrific, and that 911 call, which captured
That was intense.
truly all of it. You heard, and everyone who's heard that 911 call heard a death scream. If anybody ever wants to know what it sounds like before a human being dies, knowing that their death is imminent, that's exactly what it is. That was a death scream.
We're going to see if it's true.
But
Oh, wow. You see him? That's why I want to see this, because this is one of the craziest trials I've seen. I mean, I'm not somebody that sits and watches trials all the time, but definitely one of the craziest I've covered on the channel. He's still claiming that he's, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't know who's leaving some of the comments and some of the people that have come in through the live streams. I don't know if they're supporters, and this has happened with other cases. This is not the first time that where we see things that it seems very evident and clear what happened. Though who knows, maybe we'll never know fully exactly everything, but this was pretty detailed if you watch the live streams. There's always people on the other side that come, look at Chris Watts, right?
what happened to little Ronnie and to little Ronnie, but I'm going to focus on Ronnie because she was special. And you could tell Miss Barron had done everything she could to.
Let me take it back real quick to what he said to under his breath.
Ronnie,
If it's true.
it is. That was a death scream.
We're going to see if it's true.
But what happened to little Ronnie and to little Ronnie, but I'm going to focus on Ronnie because she was special. And you could tell Miss Barron had done everything she could to create a beautiful home for her family. I noticed that the Ronnie's bedroom, before you set it on fire, you could tell she tried so hard to make her feel like a princess. Kenyatta did everything she could. And I noticed too in the kitchen, on the refrigerator, she put up magnets that said faith, love, family, hope. And then you know what else happened to that refrigerator during that night? It got splattered with blood all over it due to what happened. Little Ronnie, she couldn't scream, she couldn't run away, and she witnessed what you did to her mother as far as shooting her mother in the arm with the gunshot. She knew. And the horror that that child suffered. And she already had a life where she was born with challenges regarding her physical and her mental disabilities. But the pain and suffering that she suffered that night at your hands,
So I was wondering who's making those sounds. And I guess that's Ronnie the entire time. He's like,
unspeakable, absolutely unspeakable.
Still in denial is what it seems like.
And at the moment, that first time you struck her with that hatchet, and little Ronnie testified that all he could see was tears coming out of his sister's face. At that moment, that child knew. She knew she was being betrayed in the cruelest, most tragic and sorrowful way that a child could ever be betrayed. She was being betrayed by her parent, the one person that should be there to protect their children and love them and keep them from harm. And that what the last child felt before she passed on from this earth was your utter, cruel betrayal to her. And I read somewhere, and I don't know if it's true or not, I have no idea, but I read somewhere that souls pick their lives and that they know exactly how difficult their lives are going to be before they enter into this world. And I don't know if that's true or not, but if it is, Ronnie ONeal is one of the bravest souls I have ever come across in my 54 years on this planet. One of the bravest ever, ever. Because she suffered so traumatically. So, Mr. McNair, I appreciate your comments about, do you still hear maybe behind that pillar? I appreciate your comments about your own sentiments with the legal system, and I would never tell you it's perfect, it's not. But I'm going to look you in the eye and tell you, this is the worst case ever, ever in my life. And I have seen some horrors. But this is it. And I'm going to mete out the punishment that I think this case deserves. All right. So with that, let's count one. Mr. O'Neal, I will adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to life in prison with a minimum mandatory of life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Yep.
Count two, I will adjudicate you guilty, and adjudicate you guilty on count one as well. Count two, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to life in prison without the possibility of parole, consecutive to count one. On count three, I'm going to sentence you on the attempted murder, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to life in prison, running consecutive to counts 2 and consecutive to count 1. On count 4, on the arson, first-degree dwelling, I will adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 30 years Florida State Prison to run consecutive to counts 1, 2, and 3. On count 5, aggravated child abuse, I'm going to adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 30 years in the Florida State Prison to run consecutive to counts 1 through 4. On count 6, I'm going to adjudicate you guilty to aggravated child abuse, sentence you to 30 years in prison to run consecutive to counts 1 through 5. And on count 7, resisting arrest without violence, I will adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to time served. Credit for time served is 1,224 days. You have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court. Thank you. We're concluded.
Wow.
Some strange moments during closing arguments today as well. O'Neal saluting to the camera in court and holding up signs. One read, "Love you," and the other, quote, "Only no sin can cast first stone." He also held up the "Love you" sign right after to a woman sitting in the audience.
There's no doubt in my mind that this guy is going to appeal. Let me get to this comment because I've gotten this with several different cases, and I believe there's people really that support these people. Even like the Layla Cavett and Shannon Ryan, we've had multiple comments from people that's supporting Shannon. Now, with this comment, it said he didn't kill Kenyatta. They're saying Ronnie didn't kill his girlfriend. They're saying his son did that. And again, this is just a comment. I'm not stating this as a fact. That is why they tried hard to discuss her injuries. He made his son kill his mother. That is why the young man is not going home with his family, Kenyatta's mom. Oh, that is a good question. That is a really good question. Because the son was put in place, the officer, one of the officers or deputies adopted the child, the boy that survived. Why wasn't he put with the mother's family? I'm not giving validity to this comment, but that is a great question and point as far as that little part of that. So let me read that again. This person saying he didn't kill Kenyatta, his son did, which I don't believe that, but that's what they're saying. That is why they tried hard to discuss her injuries. He made his son kill his mother. He made his son kill his mother. That is why the young man is not going home with his family, Kenyatta's mom. He is probably exhibiting the same behaviors. That is why they put him in a new environment. Did you notice Ronald Jr. had no emotion? He actually said, "I shot her," but he stops and say he can't remember anything else. Kenyatta's mother can never look at this child the same. He could have turned the gun and shot dad. Instead, he shot and killed his mother.
All right. And so you say you do not know where she was shot. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Well, did you know that you told Detective Dirks during your interview with him? You said that I shot her in the stomach.
When you say "I shot her," you need to be a little more specific.
You just said in the stomach. He asked you, where did your mom get shot? And you said in the stomach. Do you remember that?
No, I do not.
You guys comment down below. You let me know your thoughts on that. I listened to about 30-40 minutes over again with the back and forth cross-examination of his own son. What Ronnie was doing is he pointed out, from what I saw, looking at this objectively, he pointed out a lot of contradictions within statements. I think at times he did a not so great job of trying to explain things, but at the same time, he's representing himself. He pointed out a lot of different contradictions within the different statements. That said, no, it doesn't absolve him. I really would have to go back. Maybe we should rewatch that thing together. I don't know. He does a lot of long pauses. I didn't know that was a tactic that these people do until recently, because I've spoken to a couple of people that do that. They take forever to get to the point, and either they 1, 2, 3, 4 words, and then they just stop. I mean, he's probably looking over his words, but I didn't know that was a speech tactic that some people do. They take these long ass pauses, and you're just sitting there like. There was another portion too. I'm gonna see if I can play it for you guys because I recorded it. Where, and it was kind of a big moment during the cross-examination where the media was putting out these clips, and when Ronnie asked his son, they both have the same name. Ronnie asked his son, did I hurt you? And he goes, yeah, you stabbed me, something like that. And it was like, wow, like, whoa. But then Ronnie, the father, pulls out some more contradictions when he was like, oh, well, when you gave this statement to this person, you said dad didn't hurt you. And he said he didn't remember making that statement, but he's pulling up documentation. If he's just fabricating these documents, I'm sure the other attorneys would have stopped him. So it's just kind of interesting.
Did I hurt you that night of this incident?
Yes.
I did. And how did I hurt you?
You stabbed me.
Interview. Detective
Can you give us a date of that interview?
March 26, 2018. Don't remember the time, but it was official.
Who was the interview with, Mr. O'Neal?
The interview was with Detective Dirks.
Okay.
Page 20 of 23. Do you remember telling Detective Dirks? After he asked, did your dad hurt you the night that he hurt your sister? And you said, no, he didn't hurt me. Do you remember that?
No.
It's interesting. That's all I'm saying. I don't believe that this kid did all this thing and plotted this whole situation. No. And like I said, this doesn't absolve, I don't think, the father at all. But some of these things are interesting. That just makes me wonder about that night. I mean, the other thing too, this was years ago, and now they're doing this trial recently. The son was much younger back then, but for sure this guy's going to appeal. Will it be granted? That I don't know. Maybe the experts could speak on that. I find it interesting that the son didn't go with the mother's family and instead went with the detective that he was adopted by. That is something I don't know why I didn't think of before. Thank you guys for all the support, man. Please hit the like button, turn on the bell notifications. Please share, like, anything, comment. I'd appreciate the help. And peace. Be safe.